Masters Radio presents Music History, Episode 4, MR.BIG.
MR.BIG ゆっくりお楽しみください MR.BIG!
Billy Sheehan left David Lee backing band in 1988. He began putting a new band together with the help of Mike Varney of Shrapnel Records. This label specializes in shredding genre. Sheehan started by recruiting Eric Martin, their vocalist, who was a solo artist with Atlantic Records. Sheehan had heard a track Martin recorded called I Can't Stop the Fire. For the rest of the band, Sheehan originally intended to complete the band with Steve Stevens and Greg Bissonette, who played with Roth's backing band, but things ended up falling through soon. He decided to invite guitarist Paul Gilbert of the LA bass heavy metal band Racer X, who accepted and joined the band. After they started auditioning several drummers before finding Pat Torpey, the band hired a manager, Herbie Herbert, thanks to the recommendation from Martin, and by 1989 they signed with Atlantic Records and released MR.BIG in that same year, it just outside of the top 40 stateside, and was also successful in Japan. In June 1990, they toured America as an opening act in Russia Presto Tour, and two Strike Lightning and Shadows were exclusively released on the soundtrack album of the action film Navy SEALs. 1991 released their second album Lean Into It, and it became a major commercial breakthrough, especially just Take My Heart and To Be With You, which hit number 1 and 15 countries. They toured the UK in April and May 1991, and again in 92 after releasing their live album MR.BIG Live. Next, third and fourth albums were released Bumphead and Hey Man, which was the last album that was recorded with Paul Gilbert until 2011. Hey Man would end up topping Japanese or a con chart where it remained for 16 weeks. Sadly, in 1997, band temporarily broke up, and in 2 years, MR.BIG was ready to come back. But Gilbert wanted other things. So that's when Richie, a former guitarist from Poison, was brought in. And with this lineup, there were 2 albums released, Get Over It in 1999, and Actual Size. With the album Actual Size and its release in Asia, the CD set on the charts on the number 3 spot, and their single Shine went to number 1, with the song being used as an ending theme for the anime series Hellsing. However, with tensions rising within the band, especially between Sheehan, Martin, and Torpey, they eventually worked it out to perform a farewell tour, and after disbanded in February 2002 and issuing their statement in May. Paul Gilbert was performing at the House of Blues in LA on May in 2008 when Pat Torpey, Richie, Kotzen, and Billy Sheehan joined him. It said that they enjoyed playing together so much and had such an amazing time that decided to contact Eric Martin a few days later, and the original members, Paul, Eric, Pat, and Billy, were put into motion. On the 1st of February in '99, a radio announcement from MR.BIG was made of the reunion and celebration of their 12th anniversary of their debut album. Their first reunion concert was held outside Japan at Rock Cafe in September 2009, and after going on a tour through Japan in 2010, MR.BIG recorded their 7th album, What If, their first album with new material in nearly 10 years. Then by 2014, their next studio album, The Stones We Could Tell, released. 3 years passed, and by 2017, Pat Torpey sadly had been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, so their next album, Defying Gravity, was recorded in 6 days. Torpey couldn't play drums fully, so whatever he couldn't play, Matt Starr recorded while Pat Torpey acted as drum producer, and sadly, on February 7th of 2018, the legendary Pat Torpey died from Parkinson's disease at the age of 64. After his death, there was talk of doing maybe another, but at that time they just couldn't do it without Pat. 5 years later, Sheehan had started to tease the band returning, and by March 2023, MR.BIG finally made their big announcement of the Big Finish Tour for 2023-2024, and that Nick DiVirgilio would be joining MR.BIG. And in August, they played their final show, Way Too Far Rock Festival in Romania. If you want to hear more from the MR.BIG, check out Masters Radio, Adam Pressman's interview with Billy Sheehan. Thank you so much for watching our 4th episode of Music History, Mr. Big. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and notification though. See you next time.